This is Steve Topple reporting for the Canary. We've just arrived at Parliament where disabled people against cuts are holding a demonstration.
No, we understand that.
We're here to talk to people about the issues of the day.
But they'd like to be able to, the people who've come, some of them from a long distance, would like to be able to hear what you're going to do about standing up in Parliament about these PIP changes, because there are many people here, these changes are already affected, who've lost their mobility, who haven't got any points for managing their conditions. This is going to devastate people's lives. And we'd like to know what you're going to do as MPs about opposing this in Parliament, because this comes in on the 13th of March and it's going to have devastating consequences. And it is about time our representative members of Parliament actually stood up and be counted and actually said to the Tory MPs, enough is enough. People are dying over these cuts and we're not hearing that said enough.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry, Steve Topple from the Canary. You are aware of the UN report which stated there were grave and systematic violations of disabled people's human rights in this country, yes?
Yes, I certainly am, and the reason that we're here today is in order to listen to what people have got to say. I'm sad that people think that the opposition hasn't been there in the House of Commons, because believe you me, the Labour Party have been extremely thorough in this, led by Abrahams, the Shadow Secretary of State. Time and time again, you know, PIP is the centre of everything that we're actually addressing at this time. That's why we're out here today. There's a large number of Labour MPs here as well, and we're actually here to listen. You know, I would hope that some Tory MPs may actually turn out and listen to what's to be said as well. But what we want to do is make sure that we're understanding the message very clearly. We do understand the messages, and we want to get in there and be able to represent them as well.
For sure. The question has to be asked though. Debbie Abrahams in the meeting in Parliament in February said she would be chairing a debate about the UN report, and she promised that would be happening. When is that debate happening? Because we still haven't heard.
Well, I don't know when that's happening.
So you don't know when it's happening?
He promised to debate the UN Convention report.
That may well be the case, but you know, I personally, I'm a single MP. I'm the Shadow Pensions Minister, and it's something that we do discuss within our team. And if these promises have been made by Debbie Abrahams, I'm sure she'll fulfil them. And you know, for the record, I will speak with Debbie about that and find out when she's going to do it. Thank you.
You know, what is going on here? This is the inexplicable bit. We are supposed to be the ones who are struggling with our madness, but the system is madder than us.
Debbie Abrahams, Steve Topple from the Canary. I just asked your colleague the same question I'm going to ask you as well. You promised in February that you were looking at a debate about the UN report which stipulated grave and systematic violations of disabled people's human rights. You promised this in Parliament. I was sitting there. When is this debate coming? Because we're still waiting.
The application is in. Obviously it's not my decision, but it's obviously an incredibly important issue.
What have you got to say about PIP cuts? What's Labour's stance, please?
Well, we laid down an EDM to annul the regulations. We hope that as many MPs as possible from all parties will join us and sign that. So this is the way that we get them annulled. There's also a petition on our website, so please get the message through to your MPs. This is the way that we can stop them. They have to be stopped. The way that they were sneaked through is absolutely outrageous, and disabled people, people with chronic mental health conditions, they need this support. It's absolutely outrageous what the government's doing, so please help us.
Okay.
It needs the public support to do this. We haven't got the power in there, the way it's been introduced. We need the public to sign the petitions, to get online and to sign those petitions. We need all MPs to sign that early day motion. Otherwise it's in on the 16th.
It took a year of solid campaigning by disabled activists to get 127,000 signatures for the historic WOW debate. And that was 4 years ago now. It's been shown yesterday that PIP is as deeply flawed as possible. Even the DWP have admitted they don't even adhere to their own guidelines. They're breaking the rules on Mental Health Act 2008 and the Mental Health Capacities Act 2008. Sorry, but fraud, if you're going to lie in an assessment, if we lie in our form, we can get taken to court for fraud. But they're lying on their assessments and they're not getting
It appears they're a law unto themselves. Yeah. They just ignore the laws, ignore what comes from tribunals, utter contempt for the judiciary when it makes decisions in Supreme Court. They are a law unto themselves, and it really is just not acceptable.
Can I just intervene? Sorry. With respect, though, this is not new, is it? This has been going on for years. So why has it taken so long for Labour to finally get to this point? Because this is disabled people have been saying this since like before 2010, when the work capability assessment came in. That was under New Labour. Disabled people have been campaigning and campaigning and campaigning, and it only seems that the past sort of year, Labour have really started to turn around. Why is it taking your party so long?
I've only been in Parliament for 2 years, and I can only speak for the time that I've been here. What we can say is what we're doing now. We've seen the work capability assessments will not carry on. We will see an end to them.
You all make out that you want to come here and be seen with certain people, and then you go back in there and nothing happens. We just get brown envelopes. We get continuous brown envelopes. I had 2 assessments, and I went from having full points to receiving 0 points. Because all of my illnesses are invisible. Epilepsy, fibromyalgia, polycystic ovaries, and they all cause pain that fluctuates on a daily basis. And as a result of finally finding a partner, I have lost all of my benefits. And I can see in your face, you're not even interested in my story. Your eyes are everywhere else.
Rude.
No, what's rude is how we are being treated. We're having the decency to come out here and to debate. We're coming out here, we're sharing our stories. We are doing what we physically can before we get killed off under this government. And if you think that you can come out here, listen to a few stories and you've done your bit, then I'm sorry. I never said that. I never said that. This is what we get.
Okay, so the protest by disabled people against cuts, DPAC, is now going to move down to Parliament. They're going to be holding their banners outside there. I just want to be said for the record, Debbie Abrahams, Shadow Minister for Work and Pensions, after answering a few questions, decided to scurry off back to Parliament. Marie Rim is still here, the Shadow Minister for Disabled People, but Debbie Abrahams has gone. I'm not sure what that says about the Labour Party, but it says a lot to me.
Who's right? Our rights! Who's right? Who's right? Our rights!
Okay, so DPAC are now currently doing a sit-down in the middle of Westminster Bridge. The traffic is blocked in all directions. I don't think they're going to be going anywhere quickly. I'm just looking at the police now. They don't look particularly happy. I'm not sure what's going on here, but yeah, we're now having a sit-down in the middle of Westminster Bridge, right outside Parliament. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
No debts from Tory Cuts!
Assessments. 800,000 people were dragged through an appeal system to win entitlement back for a benefit that was always theirs. 6,800 people, they were good people, they were honest people, they told the truth, they didn't commit fraud like Maximus, like Atos, like Capita. Do every day on a daily basis. Go back to your MPs and complain. Say, why did these people have to die? Because they didn't.
Okay, so what's going on now? What's the deal? What are we doing?
We're just sitting down against disabled cuts, against all the benefit cuts, against the Tories as well. Well, against all government really, because they're all the same, really, I think. So, and we're just having a little sit down to, so people can see what we go through and what we put up with.
The police thought this was okay. How is this okay? How is it okay that the Tories are killing them? How is any of this right?
Okay, so the sit-down is still going on. Traffic was blocked in all directions, but the police have now opened up a lane to let some of the traffic through. However, the protesters from DPAC will not be moved. Paula Peters just gave a very emotional speech. She was saying that essentially this is genocide against disabled people. This is an ideology. It's systematic abuse of disabled people, and it's kind of hard to argue with her. When you look at what the United Nations said in their report, which was out last November, they said that successive governments, the former coalition and the current Conservative one, have committed grave and systematic violations of disabled people's human rights. The Tories specifically have helped create a society where disabled people are viewed as benefit cheats, benefit frauds, a burden to the taxpayer. And these are not my words. This is exactly what the UN said in their report. These people must be sick of having to fight for their very basic human rights.
The government needs to stop its systematic attack on the disabled, and the police need to take seriously disability hate crime. That's what we're asking for. We want...
Okay, what these people from DPAC are saying is actually correct. There's a large petition going around at the minute because hate crime against disabled people and hate crime on the basis of gender is not recognised in law in the same way that hate crime against sexuality or hate crime against race is. There are discrepancies within the law. The Crown Prosecution Service say that they do view it as being on the same level. All hate crime is equal. However, the law does not actually reiterate this, and it doesn't stand in law that disabled hate crime and gender hate crime are the same as race and sexuality. Something ongoing at the minute. Okay, so the police have given them no choice but to move on now. So we're moving towards Parliament. The protest may finish there, may not finish there. There's still quite heavy police presence. There's a lot of paddy wagons, if you like, just at the back there, but we're now moving back towards Parliament, so let's go with them and let's see what happens at the other end. What we've seen today from Disabled People Against Cuts is a response. It's a response, firstly, to the Conservative government. It's secondly a response to a UN report last November saying that disabled people had had their human rights gravely and systematically violated. And thirdly, it's a response to a public which doesn't seem to care anymore. Let's be honest though, this is not something new. Disabled people have been campaigning for over a decade against reforms that the government constantly introduce, which are slowly eroding away at their human rights. It started under New Labour. They were the ones who introduced the work capability assessment. New Labour were the ones who introduced private companies to the Department for Work and Pensions. And all the Tories did was picked up their baton and ran with it. And I have to say, if society is judged on how it treats its people, then our society is failing miserably. Because what we've seen today and what we see week in, week out with the treatment of disabled people is an absolute travesty and a scandal, and it has to be addressed now before more people die.